Priya Cramer from Southeast Missouri State University. I'm the Assistant Director for International Admissions, and I have a wonderful opportunity of being at the office of Mohan overseas today. It's September 28th,
Yes.
2018, and I'm here to meet with some students and Mr. Shiv. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have, but if you have other questions, you can email me at international@cmo.edu. Thank you. Hope you enjoy. Good afternoon. Very nice to meet you. Have a seat. Hi, how are you? Good. Have a seat. Good afternoon. I'm Priya, and I represent Southeast Missouri State University. Yes, very nice to meet you all as well.
This year, maybe, this month of January, maybe next year, my children wants to join in this college.
Oh, absolutely.
My daughter, she is going for the MS.
Okay.
In post-graduation.
Yes.
My son is a graduate.
Okay.
He likes to go
No,
he's all
another student?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm happy to meet all of you at the same time.
Because we want to collect this forms.
Information, yes, definitely. I'll be giving you some more.
Yeah.
So you said one of your children are interested in a bachelor's program.
Yes, one is
In what?
MS. My daughter is MS, like a
MS
post-graduation.
Computer
Computer
science.
science. Both are computer
Both
science.
are MS Computer Science.
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. What are you interested in?
I'm interested in cybersecurity.
Okay.
So, just cybersecurity. Masters in cybersecurity.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds great. So I am from Southeast Missouri State University, as I said. I'll tell you a little bit about our programs and a little bit about our campus, but then I encourage you to go to our university's website.
Yeah.
It's cmo.edu. And CMO because it's Southeast, SEMO for Missouri, .edu. Okay, so that's cmo.edu. We have a search bar on the top right-hand corner. Feel free to type, no problem, type the name of your program. I love that song, by the way. It's good. I like that song. Let me see if I can put it up.
The thing is, I didn't find any, particular curriculum regarding cybersecurity.
Okay, let me show it to you. So cybersecurity at the graduate level is a brand new program. So I'm not sure if they have the degree map out yet. Could I please have a new browser? Thank you.
Otherwise, I'll get you the new browser.
That's fine. So actually, MS cybersecurity is on our materials, but this program is in effect fall 2019. So if you are interested in coming in spring 2019, is that when you are intending, or are you?
That is this January intake is spring 2019.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is that when you're interested in? Okay, so we may have to work with the graduate program coordinator. His name is Dr. Sumant Yendori. He is also from Andhra Pradesh, and he is actually the chairperson for applied computer science and cybersecurity. So I will have to, you and I will have to work with him to see if he can possibly allow you to begin that program 6 months ahead. Okay, but officially the program is starting in fall 19. But as I was mentioning earlier, besides the information I will give you, this is the university's website, cmo.edu. There are two ways you can get more information about an academic program. And it's really essential, whatever you're going to study, like you said that you looked it up, you have to do that research in advance because you don't want to be surprised when you get there and the curriculum is not what you're expecting, or you're learning something else but you were expecting to learn another thing. So one way to learn about the program is by visiting the department page, and you type computer science or cybersecurity in the search bar. Oops, I can't type. And you'll get the department's website, okay? Right there. But the other way that I encourage you to do it is by going to academics on the left. And you can click on majors, and then you can, in this search bar, you can type the program. And why this is awesome is because you can get a degree map.
Okay.
A degree map is your roadmap towards your graduation. So you will exactly know what you will study in the 2 years you are a student at this university. Okay? So I'm not sure if the cybersecurity map is out there yet, but let's take a look at applied computer science, for example. So when you view degree map, but even before you click on view degree map, here's an overview of the course. So the student will learn information about software construction, data analytics, cloud computing, and so forth. And again, once we click on degree map, there's more details about the program, what the student's average salary would be post-graduation, what are their career opportunities, etc. Okay, so it shows right there, applied computer science students will, and it expands on everything. Oops. And here on page 2 of this degree map is your curriculum checklist of what you're going to study. So this is very important. The student, he or she has to read this in detail and maybe even do a search on Google, what does that mean? If they've not yet learned these concepts in their bachelor's, it's going to be new, and that's good because they expand their knowledge. But to get an idea of what they're going to study. Okay, so there's 2 ways to understand what the program offers. One is through the degree map, and the other is through going to the department web page. When you go to the department's website, you can see the information from the chair, and there's Dr. Sumant Yandore. So he's the chair of the computer science department at Southeast Missouri State University. And you can definitely email him directly as well. His email address is right there, both for cybersecurity and for computer science, to get more information about this program. Especially the answers that you're not finding on the website. But it's a good idea to do your research before you email him. So it also looks like you're prepared, you're informed, you're trying to do your research. It's a good image that the student, it's a good if the student does that, okay? So that's a little bit about where to find information about our academics, through the search bar or through the academics tab on the left. Okay? But besides that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what our university offers. So this picture is actually from International Fashion Day. We have a whole week in November dedicated to international education, okay, across the United States. International Education Week. So during that week, we do different activities or different speakers or different things to spread the awareness about the contributions that international students bring to our campus. So one day we dedicated a couple years ago to fashion. And just the colors, the vibrant environment that international students contribute to. So that's the picture you're seeing here. We're all standing in front of the building Academic Hall. This is a very historic building on our campus, and you can see that on our logo as well. Okay? And that's an administrative building that has many offices. Our president is Dr. Carlos Vargas. Dr. Carlos is a former international student himself. He is from Mexico, and he has done his master's in the United States. He came to US for his master's, then he did a PhD, and he advanced in the academic field. So he had a faculty position, provost, etc., and now he's the university president. So we are so thankful to have him, and he is truly supportive of student success on our campus, but in particular international students, because he really understands their struggles and also their aspirations. He knows why we come to the United States and the potential that exists with that. He's the true, a good example of the American dream story. You can actually see that, and you'd see him playing soccer with international students, having meals on campus with them, dancing on the stage for Indian night, and so forth. He's such a people person, very humble and very down to earth and social. Even during orientation, the first week that the students will get to campus, he will come and give a talk and welcome all the students. But at that time, he will even give them his personal email address and say, you need to feel comfortable to email me if there's anything that you want to share with me, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just an email away. And also, he encourages people to come to his office to see him. It's very special. It's not very typical for a university president to have this much interaction with students, but you'll see him doing that on a daily basis. It's really phenomenal. We love it. Our university mascot is the Southeast Red Hawk. So you'll see this Red Hawk pride showcased at athletic events, at sporting events, our basketball games, and so the students wearing hats, backpacks, shirts, just showcasing their Southeast pride, okay? Because we always will have a rival team, So we have to be loud and cheer for the Red Hawk. Okay? So that's a picture of our American football field. And it actually, one of our residence halls overlook that. So it's such a great view. But typically, master's students live off campus. They have the option to live on campus in one of our 13 residence halls as well. They can. But many master's students opt to live on their own because they want to be more independent and take care of their own meals and other things. If you live on campus, everything is taken care of.
Okay.
You have to subscribe to a meal plan, but you don't have to clean, you don't have to pay your bills, everything is done. And living on campus is truly an amazing experience. Like that's also part of your American education experience that you can't get by living off campus. There's so much programming, there's people that take care of the facilities, you have access to computer labs, a lounge to watch a movie, or a kitchenette to cook if you need to with your friends, washer, dryer, study rooms. So our residence halls are fully equipped for students to have a good lifestyle in there. But again, students over 21 years of age have the option to live on or off campus. So a little bit about our academics now. That's kind of the main reason why a student would choose a university. Okay, and we have several reasons why Southeast has excellence in its academics, but I will talk about two. One of them is our accreditation. Okay, accreditation is sort of like a stamp of approval by our Higher Education Commission. In fact, to be accredited in certain departments or programs, you have to invite the accreditation body to come and evaluate our state of art, technology, what is our faculty doing, our curriculum. All the nitty-gritty details are evaluated thoroughly. Then the commission will leave and make a thorough report and see whether or not our university is worth getting that accreditation. So we are very proud to have several accreditations in our academic departments. They are spread out across different majors because different accrediting bodies evaluate different majors. So there's a different one for business, different one for technologies, a different one for advertising, mass media, journalism, etc. Okay? So for computing, we are ABET accredited. A-B-E-T. So I encourage you to go back later and on Google type ABET accreditation and see what that means for you. So when you earn your degree, you know that our degree is offering you, or whatever you're learning is at national and international standards of excellence. Okay? And you can compare that with other universities that you are considering to see whether they have accreditation in the specific program as well. Okay? And this is what students should mostly consider when they think of ranking. Ranking is good and important, but in the United States there are over 4,000 universities. Okay, over 4,000 universities. So if you rank the universities, majority of them are going to be outside the top 10, top 100, right? But that doesn't mean they are bad institutions. Okay, so what you need to consider is accreditation to know whether you are getting a quality education that will have value after your graduation. So the other thing that we are really proud of is our faculty to student ratio. Okay, our university is considered a mid-sized institution. So there are large institutions in the United States that have 40, 50,000 students, and there are also small-scale universities, small-sized universities, private universities, etc. That's maybe 4,000 or 5,000. So we are about 12,000 students on our campus. Okay, so the reason, and that's a big number in itself, but about 800 are international students out of the 12,000. But why this is important is because of this number, we can maintain a small classroom size. Okay, I know 12,000 is still big, but our average class size is 30 to 35 students, and it's even less at the master's level. So this means that the professor and student can have one-on-one engagement, interaction, and accountability. The faculty knows that the student is paying attention. The faculty know the students by their first name. The faculty know what your goals are, your aspirations are, and what career path you want to take next. Okay, and the faculty also knows if you're falling asleep. They can call out on you. Okay, which doesn't happen, but if it's small classroom size, if you're in a big classroom setting, then it's hard for a student to raise their hand,
Yes.
ask a question. They're shy. Their voice is not loud enough. And it's hard for the professor to know everyone by name. So we are really proud of that. It's a very student-focused environment on our campus. Okay, so even if a faculty or a staff member see you walking on a hallway and maybe just kind of treading along, they will probably stop you and ask you like, "Hi, may I help you? Do you know where you're going?" And then maybe you've reached the wrong office. That office will ask you more questions before they direct you to the next office, so that the next office you're going to would already expect you there. So they'll call and make a referral, and they'll be like, "This student is on their way, just expect them in 10 minutes," or something like that. So it's a very student-friendly environment, and that's where the focus should be. Okay?
This college is closer to St. Louis?
We are 2 hours south of St. Louis, so I'll tell you about that in a minute. That's on the last page. But since you've asked about that, I can skip ahead and just talk to you about the university location. We are 2 hours south of a big city called St. Louis.
Yeah.
So we are in the suburban area. So we are not a metropolitan city.
Okay.
We are a smaller city.
Okay.
But because of our location, we can be more affordable. Our cost of living is not as high as what you would experience in a bigger city. Okay? And besides that, because of our location, we have good proximity to bigger cities within a 3 to 5 hour distance. So within 2 hours, you can reach St. Louis. Within 3 hours, Memphis. 4 hours, Nashville. 6 hours, Chicago, Atlanta. A few more hours, Dallas. So students travel, especially on the weekends, they'll go to St. Louis. And on bigger breaks like spring break or fall break.
We've been there last year, actually. That's where it's
to St. Louis?
Yes.
Oh, great. So we're just a couple hours south of them.
Yeah, I've been traveling since 20 years.
That's wonderful.
But I don't know why my children was very interested to go to study in US.
Okay.
So I said that. Okay,
that's a good decision, and I'm really glad. See,
Yeah.
another thing that I like to talk about, especially when it comes to our location, because I've experienced this myself as a former student here. I did my MBA at SEMA. Is you don't have much distraction during the school week. So Monday through Friday, the students stay focused on their academics.
Yes.
After their classes, you'll find them in the library, computer lab, interacting with faculty in appointments, or academic advisors, or doing their on-campus jobs, or student engagement opportunities that's right here. Leadership organizations, honors programs, student organizations like not just Indian organization, Brazilian, soccer club, etc. We have academic organizations as well. So computing club or accounting club, etc. So students can meet their peers that share the same interest in a more social setting that's not the classroom. They can get to know them better. Even those students that graduate earlier can be their good network. Maybe they have found a job, they share that information with the organization, things like that. So they are extremely academic focused at our university, at least during the school week. And that's really important. Some students might be bored, but we also have a mall and other things. We have the beautiful Mississippi River that's 10 minutes walking distance from our campus. So students can do all that, but they don't have time to engage in leisure. They engage in productive pursuits on our campus. But we encourage students to travel because the United States is absolutely beautiful and they need to explore more than just the town that they're living in.
I visited a few colleges actually in a couple of years and even the last year.
Wonderful.
But when I saw the Mohan was encouraged to this college, I was very happy.
That's great.
He was encouraging to study in this college.
Absolutely. We have worked with Mohan overseas for a very, very long time.
Helping us to study in this college.
I believe that. We are very, very happy with our relationship with Mohan, and we have received applications from them. I've worked only for 5 years at this university, but I know the relationship is long-standing, and so we don't have to tell them a lot about our university. He knows our institution very, very well.
Even though I brought my children a couple of times here,
and
they were so happy when he was explaining and to study there.
Absolutely.
We were so comfortable.
Good.
We're having 2 children.
Yes.
We both want to study there.
Wow. I'm really happy to hear that. Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm really thankful that Shiv Mohan was able to explain to you in detail before even my visit. I'm really happy to hear that. But also because of our location, we can talk about costs a little bit and why we can maintain our tuition rates that we do. Remember, I told you earlier we are a state university. This also means that we are partially funded by our state government.
Okay.
So the burden of the tuition doesn't just fall on the student. Otherwise, we would have put our tuition rates very high. Okay? But this tuition rate is what we are at right now is $13,155 for 30 credit hours for 1 year. So this is bachelor's, and I'll explain the master's as well. For master's, we are a little under $10,000 a year. Okay, but you will be taking up to 9 classes a year. But bachelor students take up to 10 classes a year. I take it back. Let me just back up.
Okay,
Let me just talk about bachelor's or master's. Anyone?
Yeah.
Let's start with bachelor's because I'm talking to you about your children. So, bachelor's, you'll be taking 30 credit hours a year. Okay? 30 credit hours, you'll divide it by 15 one semester, 15 another.
Yes.
Okay? Hi. So, out of 15, each class is worth 3 credit hours. So, you will typically take 5 classes one semester, 5 in another. Okay? Going to master's, our rate is at 18 credit hours per year. 18 if you take it for 1 year, 9 credits for 1 semester, 9 credits for the second semester. Out of 9 credits, each class is worth 3 credits. So you will typically take 3 classes at the master's level per semester. But a bachelor's degree student takes up to about 5 per semester. If they take 5 per semester, they will graduate within 4 years.
Yeah.
So that's 30 credits, 30, 30 and 30. A typical bachelor's degree is 120 credit hours. So if a student takes less than 15, less than 5 classes, let's say 4, then they must take extra summer classes to graduate within 4 years. If they only take 12 credits every single semester, they will not graduate in 4 years. So if they take 15 every semester, then they will finish within 4 years. Does that make sense?
Yes.
For masters, a typical graduate program is between 30 to 36 credit hours. Okay, it's very intensive, but it's in a shorter time frame. So if it's 36 credit hours to graduate with a master's degree, you will typically take 18 1 year, 18 another year. Does that make sense? So 2 years. But bachelor's, it's 120 credit hours to graduate. So I'm going to now talk about bachelor's costs and scholarships. So besides the $13,155, which is tuition, the remainder approximately $12,000 is towards your living expenses. Okay? It's a little less at the graduate level because we actually anticipate that many of our graduate students might stay off campus. Yeah, master's students would stay off campus. But both your children are also interested in master's?
One is in master's, one is in graduate actually.
Graduate? Bachelor's? One bachelor's, one master's.
Yeah.
Got it. So our anticipated expenses or our estimated expenses for bachelor's living expenses are a little higher than master's because living on campus is a little more expensive than living off campus in your apartment. Because when a student rents an apartment, they usually have a roommate or 2. So the expenses are shared among a few people. Okay? But it also depends on your lifestyle choices. So if you're renting an apartment just to yourself, you're going to pay much more. Okay? So we have more scholarships at the bachelor's level. By the way, bachelor's is undergrad. Master's is grad. Okay? So at the undergraduate level, we have more scholarships than we do at the master's level. Presently, we hope to expand the master's scholarships as well, but we're not there just yet. At the bachelor's level, we have tiered scholarships based on a student's GPA and overall performance. So the very first one is if they meet the minimum requirement for the university, they will get a $2,000 scholarship towards that $13,155. If they get at least a 65%, their tuition is down to about $8,000, and that brings it down to the in-state rate, what an American student would pay in Missouri. About $8,000 a year.
Okay.
But if the student has over 70%, then they can get $8,000 scholarship. So you would pay only about $5,000 per year. So it's really, really good. But that also, they have to not just meet the GPA, they have to also meet a test score. So an IELTS score of 6.0 for the $5,700 award, and an IELTS score of 6.5 for the $8,000 award. Okay, because it's a tier. We want to make sure that the student is more academically qualified and to get the higher award. Okay, at the master's level, we have 2 scholarships right now, but only one will apply to you. The one that unfortunately doesn't apply to you is for students that are CMO alum. So if they are finished, international student that has finished their bachelor's degree at CMO, they will get in-state rate for masters. So out of about $10,000, the scholarship is $4,313. So it's about a little over $5,000 that they will pay for masters for 1 year. But that doesn't apply to you. Sorry. So as a brand new student, you will qualify for a $2,000 scholarship so long as you are admissible to our master's program. So out of $10,000, approximately your tuition will be about $8,000 per year. So $16,000 is about 13.5 lakhs for both years for your tuition. That does not include your living expenses. Out of living expenses, whether you are on or off campus, I mentioned earlier, it's based on your lifestyle choices. But the only thing that's fixed is your health insurance. Okay, you cannot negotiate it, or it's not optional. You have to bring your own, you cannot bring your own insurance from India. You have to take the university's insurance, and we will automatically bill you and also enroll you in the insurance.
Okay. What is the cost of that?
$1,241 per year.
Per year.
So you'll be billed about $500 in your fall semester bill. For your August semester, we will add a $500 charge for your health insurance, and that goes from August to about December. And about $700 will be added to your account as a charge for health insurance for the spring semester, but that also includes summer. So it goes from January 15th through August 14th. So that covers more months, so it's a little more expensive. But we don't want you to come to the United States and be worried about your medical bills should you need to take, use the services for surgery or for cold or cough or whatever. Okay, we don't want your medical bills to impact your education. So you're going to be fully covered with our insurance plan. You wouldn't have to pay out of pocket. Okay?
It's yearly 12,000.
1,200. So 500-ish for one semester and about 700 for the second. Okay? So that's as far as scholarships and tuition go. What else? So I explained to you all about the resources that are available on campus. American education trains a student to become a holistic, well-rounded individual. Okay? You cannot just graduate and be an expert in your academic discipline because you cannot work in isolation.
Yeah.
They have to interact with people, and they never know. Your employer might be from another continent or speaks another language, or you might be working with people that are completely different from you. So on campus, when you are a student, we give you an array of opportunities to develop your personality, your interpersonal skills, your communication skills that really help you become global leaders. Okay, because you cannot work alone. You will be, when you graduate, whether you are in the computer field, you'll still be interacting with other human beings, across the globe. So we want to prepare you for that. Also, your degree and your degree will probably take up, and your CGPA will probably take up one line on your resume.
Exactly.
So the rest of the things that you will put on your resume have to be valid, credible experiences that you can confidently talk about in your interview, whether it's for a PhD program or whether it's for an internship, which you will be interviewed even for internships, on-campus jobs, and also full-time job upon graduation. Okay? And so we prepare you for that. We give you the resources. We're not going to force you to engage yourself in that, but you have to take initiative and join those organizations. Everything is at zero cost to the student. We also have an aquatic center that you can go and relax and de-stress after your long day of academics. But students often find themselves securing on-campus jobs, because especially students from India really want the jobs and they strive hard to get it. So on campus we have several employers that include computer labs, library, different offices on campus such as the international office, financial office, registrars, etc., career services office, alumni. There are different offices on campus. They all hire a few, 1 or 2 or 3 or more student assistants to help in administrative duties within their office, whether it's filing, customer service, greeting, answering calls, directing, scheduling appointments, things like that. Those are very vital because those also help you, give you first-hand experience on what the real world will look like. You know, you are involved in decision making, you understand how an office operates, what are the dynamics, what's the organizational culture like, things like that. It's very important. So you can work up to 20 hours a week on campus, and not all students will get one job that will give them 20 hours right away. You might get 8 to 10 hours in one job. So you can certainly secure a second job on campus for another 8 to 10 hours. So you can have multiple jobs as long as it's on campus and for a maximum of 20 hours. During breaks, you can work full-time on campus. So, you know, I told you there's a spring break in between the spring semester and a fall break in between. That week you can work up to 40 hours because you won't have classes. So you'll be allowed to work up to 40, and also during summer and winter break. And our offices, like staff offices, are open throughout the year because we help with admissions and things like that. So in the summer, we always hire students as well for working longer periods. But students also take internships during summer or go back home or take online classes. So there's lots of options, or travel. We also have several study abroad programs. So at our university, I myself took part in a dual degree program for my MBA. So for 1 year, I studied at CMO, and 1 year I went to Germany. And in 2 years, I got 2 degrees because of a partnership that our university had. So I have an MBA and an MA in International Business and Economics. It's really wonderful. It's truly incredible. But besides this degree that I mentioned, we also have short-term study abroad programs. So students can go on trips with faculty over March, the spring break, to London and Paris. Or in the summer, we have a 3-week break or 3-week trip to some places in Europe, Italy and France, I believe. Or you could opt to go to another country completely on your own for 1 semester. And courses that you take there will count back towards your degree at CMO. So there's partnerships that faculty help you work with. If we don't have a partnership in a certain country that you're really adamant on going to, we will try to create a partnership in that country with a certain university and see if we can have a relationship that will help you earn your degree by participating in this overseas opportunity. Yes, so there's a lot going on campus. There's never a dull moment. And you will have to pick and choose what you want to engage yourself in. There's a lot. There's a lot for you to do. And it's very safe, very friendly. The community is so vested in the campus to the point that even during orientation, some community members know that international students will come with just 2 pieces of luggage. So they actually even gather study tables or mattresses or desks for them so that during orientation week, students that need it and live off campus can have certain amenities in their house without having to buy it right away. They have meals for students periodically in different churches, and students just, if they get out of their comfort zone, there's so much that they can immerse themselves in.
Maybe Shay should come and study.
Yes, I hope so. You should definitely. I mean, it's never too late. You can certainly do it. Yes.
But since 20 years I'm traveling to the US.
Cool.
Since more than 20 years.
That's really wonderful.
So then we thought about our children. Then Mohan was really encouraged my children. I wish
thank
that
you.
This year maybe my children should get visa. When
Yes.
you're talking all these things,
You're thinking about the
feeling,
visa.
yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
That's a struggle, and that's really out of our control.
Yeah.
But what we can do is, we have given Mr. Mohan some information about
Yes.
some visa preparation materials.
Yeah.
So it's like a PowerPoint with 25 slides that talk about CMO.
Yeah.
And so the students hopefully can look at that PowerPoint and find one or two things that really touch them, that are meaningful to them. And in the visa appointment, explain that to the visa officer in a simplified way when they ask, why Southeast Missouri State University? One or two things that are personal to them, that's why they chose the university. But we know that's a struggle, but if the student has the right intent and the right demeanor, they have to be going to their visa appointments with honesty and respect.
Yeah.
So if they maintain respectful interaction and also answer their questions very honestly, we hope that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, but it's really out of Mohan's control and our control too, and it's really a struggle. It's a struggle.
He's really concerned about the students. I know that because when I interact with my children, we just encourage study there and your career will be good. And
absolutely.
So my children, my son didn't join any college till now.
Wow.
So we're just waiting for this January.
Okay, I understand. So
that's another example of what I said right
yes.
now. You see people, they're already done with the bachelor's program.
Right.
So you can just explain the same to them, because if he can go for a bachelor's program for 1 year and he can get one.
Yes,
one
I will.
year,
Absolutely.
Thank
you. So at the undergraduate level, so talking about the student that has finished intermediate, right? So we call them transfer students if they have studied at a university in India or anywhere in the world for a semester or 2 or 3. Let's say a student has attended a university, Osmania University or JNTU or whatever, for 1 semester or 1 year, and then they don't find it a good fit or whatever reason they want to switch. That student is considered a transfer student. Okay, they're not considered a freshman, they're considered a transfer. And what that means is the courses that they have studied in that semester or year transfer towards their degree at CMO. Okay, so earlier I mentioned 120 credit hours towards graduation. So if the student has taken 6, 7, 8, 10 classes that 1 year, each of those courses will be evaluated by our registrar's office. Okay? The grade associated with that course and also the credit hours. How many hours were they in the classroom? What all did they study? And each of those courses will be evaluated to see how they would transfer to his degree at CMO. So there's a possibility that he wouldn't need to study 120 credit hours at our university, that he may graduate within 3 or 3.5 years. So that's not uncommon. We have many students that do that. Also some students, hi, welcome. We have some students that have even done, for example, 3-year bachelor degrees. Not all 3-year bachelor degrees count towards, our students completing 3-year bachelor degrees are not always eligible for master's programs, because in the US, a bachelor's degree is a 4-year degree. So those students also typically join as a transfer student, and they have fewer years to complete towards a bachelor's degree in the United States. Okay, so that's considered a transfer student. So I encourage him to do that. That way he's not wasting his time. But it's also, we have seen other students that take a gap in their education because they're preparing for a test score like IELTS or TOEFL. So that's perfectly fine too. Okay, but I'm just letting you know of the other option. If they do study elsewhere, they don't have to finish it and then come only for their master's. They can stop there and then after a year or 2 and come to our university as a transfer student. Okay? At the master's level, what I've seen is, I told you the curriculum is only 36 credit hours. So some departments transfer up to 9 credit hours at the master's level. So up to 1 semester's worth of classes, but not from bachelor's to master's. If you have studied at another master's program, right, and you're coming to our master's program, out of everything you've studied, a maximum of 3 classes may be transferred towards your degree at CMO, if you have other experience at a master's level. Okay? You're very welcome.
Thank you so much for coming and encouraging us, and I wish that all should get the visa.
Yes, I hope so too. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you very
Thank
much
you so
for
much.
stopping by. Good to meet you.
Maybe I'll catch you from US one day.
Yes, I would love that. And you as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope your daughter and son apply.
Yes, thank you so
And
much.
please feel free to ask us any questions you may have.
Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye. See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice
Can I
to meet
have
you.
this?
Yes, absolutely. And feel free to email Dr. Sumant Yanduri. I showed you how to
Yeah.
find his email address, and Dr. Yanduri can give you an overview of what the course content is going to look like for cybersecurity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
So, hope things are done.
Yes, but I think some joined us recently.
Yeah.
Hi, what's your name?
Rohit.
Rohit, nice to meet you. I'm Priya.
Sayyid Wasim.
Syed Hasim, nice to meet you. Ubay, nice to meet you.
Sanjeev.
Sanjeev, nice to meet you. I'm Priya.
Please be seated.
Thank you.
Yeah, please. Be comfortable, guys.
Thank you. I'll share a little bit. Shiv, do you mind if we turn the fan on?
Fan?
Yes, I'm a little warm.
Seriously?
I am. I don't know why. Is that okay,
I
with you?
can reduce the AC. If you
Sorry,
want me to.
maybe. It's fine. This is good. Thank you.
I'll.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you. This is good. Thank you so much. So, tell me a little bit about what you're interested in.
I've just completed my graduation in 17, so I'm planning for masters in CS.
Okay.
My stream is CS. computer
Perfect.
science.
Okay. What about you?
I also completed my bachelor's planning to study for masters in structures.
All right.
Civil structures.
Speak a little louder.
Civil structures.
Civil structures. Okay.
Same profile. I've completed my bachelor's in 2018. I'm planning for masters in civil structures as civil industry.
Okay. What about you?
Masters in engineering management or technology.
Wonderful. Okay. So at least the three of you, I can recommend our technology management program. So the students that we have within the civil background, they typically tend to apply for technology management, either facilities management or industrial education, training, development, manufacturing systems, workplace environment, health, safety. Those are the kinds of programs the students are typically applying for. Okay, so that's what I encourage you to look more into. And for you, we have a program called Applied Computer Science at the graduate level. Okay, so hopefully, I encourage you to go to our university's website, which is cmo.edu. CMO stands for Southeast Missouri. Okay, so it's an acronym of the university name, and we are a public university, and you can tell that by the words State University. And we were founded in 1873, so we've been around for a very, very long time. Several of our programs have accreditation. Do you know what that is? Accreditation? Okay, so accreditation is like a stamp of approval by the Higher Education Commission. Okay, so they come to our campus, evaluate our curriculum, our faculty, what are the kinds of backgrounds, etc. What is our facility looking like, our use of technology. They look at our curriculum. They look at all aspects before they can recognize our university and provide us the accreditation. Okay, so for the sciences for the engineering, computing, and engineering technology fields, we have ABET accreditation, ABET. So I encourage you to go back home or wherever and type on Google ABET accreditation to understand what that means for you. Okay, so there are different accreditation bodies for different majors. So the one for your program would be ABET. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So look that up, because this is important for you to know what kind of degree you are earning, and also other universities you may be considering to see whether or not they also have the same kind of accreditation. Okay? This also tells employers that you have had a very rigorous curriculum and that you worked hard to earn your degree. The other thing that we are very proud of in terms of our university is our faculty to student ratio. Okay, it's a very personalized experience, 1 to 30 to 35 students. So it's a very small class size. You can think of yourself as a big fish in a small pond rather than a small fish in a big pond. Okay? That means that the faculty would know you by name. You can be recognized for who you are, your skills, your strengths. But also the good thing is that maybe you have areas that you're struggling in, but the faculty again knows you, so he can work with you one-on-one to improve that aspect of, whatever your expertise is.
Interaction is important.
Yes, very good interaction, good engagement, and you cannot slide by. The faculty can see you and will know you. Okay, you won't be just left alone to figure it out. You will be somebody will be caring about your success throughout as a student and also beyond. Okay, so besides your academics, and we offer, majority of our programs have 100% opportunity for hands-on experiential learning. So whether it is technology management or whether it's computer science, you will have some component designed within your program to give you first-hand experience on what you would do if once you graduated to seek an internship or a job. So before you graduate, our programs are preparing you for the workforce. Okay? Because we understand you're not just looking at the 2 years you're there as a student, you're looking ahead. And we want to help you in that journey. Okay? We want to prepare you for your careers. This is our university president. He is Dr. Carlos Vargas. So Dr. Vargas is from Mexico. So he's a former international student like you and me. Okay, he came to the US to do his master's, and then he went to a PhD program, became a faculty, provost, all of the above before he became a president. Okay, so he really understands international students because he's walked that same path as you and me. Okay, but he cares about your success and your struggles or whatever it is, and he is personally vested in you besides anybody else at the university, the president himself. You will notice that at orientation. He comes to the first day of orientation and he welcomes all the students, and he will give you his personal email address, which is president@cmo.edu. So you can reach him directly and tell him anything that's going on in your experience at Southeast. Besides our academics, we also have immense opportunities for social engagement and interaction. And that's really important because when you graduate with an American degree, you can't just be an expert in your field. You have to have more knowledge and experience that makes you a well-rounded, competent, holistic individual. Okay? And you get those experiences by extracurricular activities that the university offers. One of them is through our athletics. So we have lots of intramural sports at the universities and also teams that compete at the national level too. Our mascot is Southeast Red Hawk. So students showcase their Red Hawk pride at athletic events to show team support for our university. So you can wear red and black clothes when you come, and you can buy clothes from the bookstore or other in the city that have the Red Hawk logo on your shirt, so to show that you are supporting your team. Besides athletics, our university has several other things like leadership organizations, student organizations, teams and competitions, fraternities, sororities, honors programs, and a lot more. And we will explain all this to you once you get there too, but just think about it. We have immense opportunity for you to kind of analyze what your skills are and where you can excel, for you to understand what area you can really dive into and kind of flourish, whether it is an executive board member for the computer science club, or whether it is forming a new club, or whether it is joining student government. You can understand where you want to, dedicate your time into. That will help you improve your personality and your leadership skills. And we present those opportunities. Besides these, we also have on-campus jobs that students engage themselves in. We have different employers on our campus. They include the computer lab, library, teaching assistants, office assistants, dining facilities, recreation center, and much more. So you can also apply for an on-campus job. But remember, I told you earlier, whenever you go for interviews or when you graduate with your degree, they're not just asking you for your technical skills. You will have to answer questions in an interview. You have to put information on your resume besides your degree. All that information is what you have done, that you are proud of, that you are confident about, that you can speak about. Okay? Even for your on-campus job, they will ask you, tell me about your experiences related to this field. Why should we hire you? Tell me a little bit about yourself. And you cannot fake it. You have to answer things that you can truly, back up with examples. So you have to be engaged, especially when you come to America. You cannot be in your classroom and in your house. You cannot do that, because that you can do right here. Okay? This is what our campus looks like a little bit. This is one view of our campus. Our campus is really spread out, and it's relatively flat and widespread. By that I mean our maximum floors are like 2 or 3 floor buildings typically, and we don't have skyscrapers in our city or tall buildings because we are considered like a suburban place. Okay? We are 2 hours south of a big city called St. Louis. So you've probably heard of St. Louis, and we are 2 hours south of there. Okay? So when you fly to US, we will either pick you up in St. Louis or Cape Girardeau. Cape Girardeau is where our university is located. We have one direct flight from Chicago to Cape Girardeau. So from India, if you fly to Chicago, then you can take a flight from Chicago to Cape and you'll be in our town. Or some students fly from India to New York or any other place and then fly to St. Louis. And we can also pick you up from St. Louis. There is a cost to the pickup, $70 if it's from St. Louis Airport or $25 if it's in Cape Girardeau Airport. Okay? So because of our location, students have good proximity to nearby cities. That's not just St. Louis. You can travel 3 to 5 hours and reach a major city. Okay, like Memphis, Nashville, Atlanta, Chicago. You can travel in all these directions and go to other cities and explore the country. And we strongly encourage that. But that is typically during breaks or weekends. During the week, you must stay on campus and study and engage yourself in other opportunities, okay? But because you will be busy as graduate students, as master's students, you will not have time to just take trips during the work week, during your school week. You can't. But on the weekends, you can have as much fun as you want. So talking about costs, our overall costs for master's students are a little under $20,000 per year, out of which about $10,000 is tuition, $10,000 is living expenses. Out of the $10,000 in tuition, we offer a $2,000 scholarship so long as you are admitted to the university. So if you meet a minimum GPA requirement of 55%, you can get our $2,000 scholarship towards the $10,000. There is no separate application or nothing. That $2,000 will be listed on your I-20. Okay? If you are admitted to the university, then you will get this. Out of the living expenses, we have amounts dedicated to books and supplies, housing, meals, personal expenses, and health insurance. The housing and meals are dependent on your lifestyle choices and also personal expenses. Like if you travel every day, all of that, your expenses are going to go up, right? But all of this can be a little less if you share your apartment, if you share groceries, things like that. Books are also very highly estimated here, but if you rent books, which most students rent instead of buying it firsthand, or if you buy it on Amazon or eBay, it will be less than $850 a year. Health insurance is the only amount that's a fixed cost. You cannot bring your own insurance from India. You have to take the university's insurance because it's full coverage. Okay, we don't want you to worry about your medical bills when you are there if you have to use the medical services there. We want you to have not to worry about that. You just need to worry about your academics So by paying this amount, it will be fully covered. So that's all I wanted to share with you about the university today. I really encourage you to go to our university's website. There are 2 ways in which you get direct information about your academic program. On the main screen, when you type cmo.edu, on the top right-hand corner, there's a search bar. Type the name of the program you're interested in and learn more about once you visit the department's page. The other way is on the top left corner, there's a tab called Academics. When you click on Academics, it'll ask you to select majors. So you select majors after academics, and then there'll be all our programs. So scroll or type in the search bar there to find the program that you're interested in. Once you find the program, there will be something known as a degree map. A degree map is a roadmap towards your graduation that will tell you specifically your courses that you will study in the 2 years you will be a student there. Okay, so what you will study in first semester, second, third, and fourth. And that's really important. And I think I mentioned that earlier. You have to do your research that shows that you are, you're working hard, you're really interested, and that you're preparing yourself even before you ask questions. Okay? So please look that up because that's important for your success. And the other thing is, also from the university's website, you can get the graduate program coordinator's email address. For technology management, it is Dr. Sophia Scott. For applied computer science, it's Dr. Suman Yenduri. He is from Andhra Pradesh.
Okay.
Yes, so you can email either Dr. Sophia Scott or Dr. Yenduri for any specific questions about your academic program as well. If not, you can always email international@cmo.edu. And me or my team members will be happy to email you back. Okay? Thank you.
Admissions are closing. The last date of admission.
Good question. November 1st. November 1st for spring. So you have to apply in the month of October if you are interested in joining us in spring, which is January 2019. Okay? The semester starts on January 7th. It's very early this year, so you cannot come later than January 7th. Yes, so you have to apply this month to get your visa appointment date, etc., etc. Okay? Book your flight tickets, pack your bags, and get there.
And is it easy to find a part-time in the university?
So, like I mentioned,
as soon as we go there. Like,
yes, students can find jobs as soon as they get there, but again, they are very competitive. They're very competitive, so you have to work hard to get it. So you have to constantly look at our job posting portal. We have a website called redhawkjobs.com. Once you get a student ID, you can create a job profile in there. And then once you create your profile, then you can look at all the openings, job openings. Okay? So once you see that, then whichever jobs meet the criteria, you can apply to multiple jobs. Okay?
the criteria is based on our personal skills? Or
No, the criteria is based on what the job employer is looking for. So, for example, before I came here, I was hiring people in my office. I hired 3 students. So, in my job posting, my criteria was must have phenomenal communication skills. You're silent. Because the students that I'm working with have to work with prospective students. If you ask a question or if you call my office, someone will answer. It will more than likely be a student. So we want them to have good communication skills. Then my other criteria was be really good with technology, to be able to work and manage different databases at once. So that's what I mean by criteria. The criteria is always catered to the job description. And then when you are looking at the job posting, then you can read, communication skills, I got that. Computer skills, I got that. So you can see if you can apply for that. Yes. So there might be other jobs that in the news bureau office, students must have experience doing press releases or things like that. So if I don't have any experience, I cannot just randomly apply for a job that I don't have any experience to contribute. Does that make sense? So that's what I mean by the job criteria. It will be clearly listed what they are looking for. Okay? But again, it varies by department. But students are hired all around campus.
do we have internships while we pursue the course?
So every program has a component of hands-on experience, and that could be an internship. But you have to see whether your program specifically has one or not. Okay, so I encourage you to email Dr. Suman Tendori and ask if it's built into your program or whether you could do an internship before you graduate. But every program is different, so not all programs require an internship. Not all programs do. Many of them offer internship component, and the department helps you find one, but you have to secure those. You have to go for interviews, etc. But again, it varies by academic program. Good questions.
And what is the eligibility criteria?
6.0 on the IELTS and 60% for your grades.
I have 6.5 in IELTS.
Okay.
And 59.
Go ahead and still apply because the faculty look at the overall performance of the student. Do you have a GRE score yet?
Yes, 285.
Okay, very good. Just go ahead and submit the GRE score along
Am I
with it.
eligible for the application?
You should be, but again, the final decision for a master's student takes place with the graduate department. So your file will go to Dr. Suman Tendori. He and his committee will evaluate your transcript before he makes a decision.
Okay.
So I can't guarantee because it's less than the published required GPA. 60 is the required, but they look at the whole student's profile. If you have any job experience or GRE, or when did your grades drop, whether it was maybe for medical reasons or your first semester when you were still trying to figure things out, and your GPA improved later. He looks at all those factors before they admit a student. Okay, so I encourage you to still apply because it's very close to 3.0. Absolutely. Also, I'll just leave you with a couple because this website down here, cmo.edu/international/future, has the same brochure in a PDF format.
Okay.
So you can read more about it if you want to take one. Okay?
And how many days it takes to get the admission?
Within 2 weeks after you giving us all documents, you should be getting an email within 2 weeks of the decision. Because it's a step-by-step process. After you give us all documents, we record it in our internal system. Then within our internal system, we forward it to the graduate department. They evaluate it, then they send it back to the...
Okay.
So it takes that process. After you've given us all the documents, within 2 weeks, you should have a decision. Within 2 weeks, for sure. And Dr. Suman Tendori is like on it, so you should get it within a week actually for applied computer science. All right. Any other questions? You're very welcome. Nice to meet you all. Good luck on your application again. Thank you for stopping by. Nice to meet you. Thank you. I have to.
So yeah,
You fine? Sorry.
Yeah, we're done.
Is it still recording?
I think so. Just wait.
I have to go to another office, so unfortunately.
Wait.
I have to.
You can. No problem.
Thank you. Bye bye.